Welcome to the Secret History Channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. In 1965, the Barton Fair in Vermont brought people together to celebrate local culture, with typical activities, food, and entertainment. Events like this were important for the community and kept regional traditions alive. In 1961, Fidel Castro spoke with Yuri Gagarin in Havana, Cuba. Yuri Gagarin was the first man to travel into space, and this meeting marked an important moment during the space race and international relations of the time. In 1936, one of the earliest known wheelie maneuvers was recorded. This technique, which consists of lifting the front wheel of a motorcycle or bicycle, showed the rider's skill and control. The wheelie became popular in sports and entertainment. In 1973, the Twin Towers were photographed from New Jersey, in the United States. That year, the towers were inaugurated and quickly became a striking symbol of the New York skyline. In 1985, John Travolta was photographed wearing a pilot's hat. He had received his first pilot's license in 1978. In addition to being a famous actor, Travolta is known for his interest and skill in aviation. In 1939, Robert Wadlow, who stood approximately 8 feet 11 inches tall, was photographed posing for a family picture. Known as the tallest person ever recorded, Wadlow drew attention for his unusual height since childhood. In the 1950s and 1960s, flying with babies was a special experience for families. Airlines offered services to make the flight more comfortable for everyone. This period marked the growth of commercial air travel and adaptation for passengers of all ages. In 1987, an apartment building was moved to create a new avenue in Alba Iulia, Romania. This action was part of urban projects to reorganize and modernize the city. The process showed the use of engineering techniques to transform urban spaces. In 1949, Elizabeth Taylor was giving a bath to her Cocker Spaniel named Amy. This moment shows the care and affection people had for their pets at that time. In 1939, Joe Arity, known as the happiest prisoner on death row, was photographed at a moment before an important event in his life. The image reflects personal aspects of this difficult phase. In 1962, an Australian canteen was photographed in operation. The place served meals and drinks to workers, students, or visitors, offering a space for gathering and rest. In the 1940s, a group of students did their schoolwork while drinking Coca-Cola. This beverage was already popular at the time and was part of many people's daily life. The moment shows a bit of student life and social habits of that decade. In June 1966, women used compact mirrors in a tight crowd to try to see the Queen in London. This moment shows people's admiration for royal figures and curiosity during public events at the time. In 1909, Wilbur Wright flew around the Statue of Liberty in New York, United States. This feat was part of the early advances in aviation and showed the progress of flight technology at the beginning of the 20th century. In 1936, Jesse Owens was photographed saluting the flag of the United States after winning a gold medal at the Olympic Games held in Germany. His victory stood out for athletic performance and symbolized an important moment in the history of world track and field. In 1912, during his student years at the Kriegsschule in Danzig, Erwin Rommel was photographed taking part in a student event dressed in women's clothing for an entertainment performance. On March 29, 1976, Jorge Rafael Videla assumed the office of President of Argentina. This period marked an important moment in the country's political history, with significant changes in national administration. A young man was photographed enjoying his first dance. The image shows a moment of joy and celebration, marked by a special experience in social and cultural life. This record reflects traditions and rites of passage common in various cultures. In 1936, a car parking elevator was used in Chicago, United States. This system helped optimize space in urban areas, making it easier to store and organize vehicles. The technology showed advances in city infrastructure. In the 1950s, a typical American family lived in Detroit, Michigan. This period was marked by economic and social changes in the United States, with the growth of cities and the development of the automobile industry, especially in Detroit. Family life reflected the values and customs of the time. In 1964, the Supergiant supermarket was located in Rockville, Maryland, United States. Supermarkets like this were part of the growth of commerce and convenience for families at the time. They offered a variety of products in one place. In the 1950s, San Francisco, United States, was a vibrant and growing city. The area was known for its architecture, culture, and scenery, such as the famous Golden Gate Bridge. That decade marked a period of urban development and social transformation in the city. In 1931, a man on the beach was called out for not wearing clothing appropriate for the location. Dress codes were stricter at the time, especially in public spaces such as beaches. This moment reflects the social customs of the period. In the 1950s, a mother was photographed with her 8 children, all of whom served in the armed forces and returned home. The image celebrates the family's dedication and safe return after a period of military service. In 1931, a boy in Berlin sold lemonade using a portable dispenser. This activity was part of the city's daily life and showed the initiative of young people to help their families or earn money. The dispenser made street sales easier. In 1979, Sigourney Weaver tested the flamethrower for the film Alien. This scene was part of the preparation for the filming of one of the most famous science fiction movies of the time. The equipment helped create impressive special effects for the audience. Actress Sophia Loren was photographed next to a Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Gullwing, a classic and iconic sports car. This model was known for its gull-wing doors and innovative design for the time. In 1957, Marilyn Monroe was photographed in New York while waiting in line to buy a hot dog. This moment shows a simple side of the life of one of the greatest movie stars of that time. In 1933, a tilt test was carried out to prove that London double-decker buses did not pose a rollover risk. The experiment helped ensure passenger safety by showing the stability of the vehicles, even in situations of tilt. In the early 1960s, actor Steve McQueen, a Hollywood legend, was photographed meeting Jane Mansfield, also a well-known star of the time. The image shows a moment of interaction between 2 notable figures of American cinema. Around 1860, a person dressed using a crinoline, a structure that helped give volume to skirts. This accessory was part of the fashion of the time and was common among women to create elegant silhouettes. In 1944, a young woman wrote a thank you letter to her boyfriend in the Navy. The content of the letter showed communication between people during the period of the Second World War. This image reflects personal moments in the midst of a difficult time. In 1950, an artist performed at a club called Samoa in New York City. Club entertainment was part of the city's nightlife at that time. This image shows a cultural and social aspect of the period. On May 18, 1980, Richard Lasher photographed the eruption of Mount St. Helens. During the event, he had to leave his Pinto car behind and flee the ash cloud on his motorcycle. This eruption was one of the most notable natural events in the United States. In 1955, actress Sophia Loren was photographed at the Venice Film Festival in Italy. At the time, she was already beginning to gain international recognition for her talent and beauty. In 1963, people were photographed buying televisions in a store. At that time, television was becoming increasingly common in homes, transforming entertainment and communication. In August 1971, astronaut James Irwin was photographed saluting the flag of the United States on the surface of the Moon. At the center of the image is the lunar module, Falcon, and to the right is the lunar vehicle known as the Lunar Roving Vehicle. In the 1940s, people were photographed shopping in a market or grocery store. The scene shows the daily life of consumers in a period marked by restrictions and economic changes caused by the context of the Second World War. In 1965, a set of triplets was enjoying ice cream. This moment shows the joy and simplicity of childhood at that time, with children sharing fun moments together. In 1927, 3 female students studied at the Bauhaus in Dessau, Germany. The Bauhaus was an important school that united art, design, and architecture and encouraged women's participation in teaching and creative practices. This image represents a significant moment in the history of education and design. In 1940, Shirley Temple signed autographs for her fans. She was a very popular child actress at the time, known for her talent and charisma. This moment shows the connection between the artist and the public during the height of her career. In 1969, Colonel Sanders prepared his famous fried chicken in Nashville, Tennessee. He became known for creating a special recipe that led to the Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurant chain. This moment marked part of the history of American cuisine. On May 8, 1945, British Royal Navy sailors and their girlfriends celebrated at the Trafalgar Square fountain in London on Victory in Europe Day. This moment marked the end of conflicts in Europe during the Second World War and was celebrated with joy by the population. In 1959, children were photographed crossing a river using a pulley system as they went to school on the outskirts of Modena, Italy. This method of crossing showed how local communities adapted to the natural conditions of the region. The photo shows a young German soldier sitting on a church bench with his helmet at his side, apparently in a moment of pause and reflection. The scene was recorded in Normandy at the end of July 1944, during a period of military movements in the region. In 1945, Norma Jean, who later became known as Marilyn Monroe, was photographed in the snow. The image shows the young woman in a moment of her youth before achieving international fame as an actress. In 1856, one of the oldest photographs of Red Square in Moscow, Russia, was taken. This image shows an important historical and cultural site of the city during the 19th century. Red Square is known for its architecture and historical events. In July 1968, Richard Nixon took part in a campaign rally in Paoli, Pennsylvania, United States. This event was part of that year's presidential race. Nixon sought voter support to become the country's president. In 1976, Anthony Daniels was photographed backstage during the film Star Wars while smoking a cigarette. This image shows a relaxed moment during the production of one of the most iconic movies in cinema history. Around 1934, the Premier of Ontario, Mitchell Hepburn, was photographed with the Dion quintuplets. The children became famous for being the first quintuplets to survive in North America. This moment is part of the region's history and the medicine of the time. On April 15, 1959, a woman was photographed wearing Republican Party buttons in support of politicians Richard Nixon and Nelson Rockefeller. The image shows a moment of political engagement during an important period in the history of the United States. In 1959, Audrey Hepburn was photographed at a party with her pet deer named Pippin. This moment shows a personal and playful side of the actress's life, known for her elegance and talent in cinema. In 1969, young parents were out with their children in Vilnius, in the Lithuanian Soviet Socialist Republic. These moments show the importance of family and time spent between parents and children at the time. The image reflects daily life during that period. On May 21, 1927, Charles Lindbergh became the first man to cross the Atlantic Ocean alone in a flight. His aircraft, the Spirit of St. Louis, took off from New York and landed in Paris after a historic and pioneering journey. In the early 1950s, some boys in Suriname were photographed, stopping to look at a poster of actress Marilyn Monroe. The image shows the influence of American popular culture even in distant places, reflecting the fascination with movie stars around the world. In 1973, during the oil crisis, President Richard Nixon proposed a national speed limit of 50 miles per hour for passenger vehicles and 56 miles per hour for trucks and buses in the United States. In 1977, the first and only time it snowed in Miami, United States, occurred. This rare event drew much attention because the city is known for its warm, tropical climate. The snow was an unexpected and remarkable occurrence for residents. In 1945, American troops were in Venice, Italy. This period marked the end of the Second World War in Europe, with the presence of Allied forces in several important cities. The image reflects a historic moment of transition and reconstruction. Between 1968 and 1973, Debbie Harry worked as a waitress at the Playboy Club in New York, United States. Before becoming famous as the lead singer of the band Blondie, she had this experience in the service sector. In 1883, the head of the Statue of Liberty was on display in a park in Paris, France. This exhibition was part of the assembly process before the statue was sent to the United States. The Statue of Liberty is an important symbol of freedom and friendship between countries. In 1962, a boy from a village in the Kostanay region in the Kazakh Soviet Socialist Republic had apples. Agriculture was an important part of rural life at the time, and fruits such as apples were part of the diet of local communities. In 1937, during the Great Depression, a sign in California suggested that people try the train as a means of transportation. This era was marked by economic difficulties and changes in people's lives. Rail transport was an important option for travel and work. In 1948, the Convair 11B Convair car model was created as a flying car. This vehicle represented an innovative idea to combine ground and air transportation. The project showed interest in developing advanced technologies for mobility at that time. Around October 1912, John Schronk, the owner of a German-American tavern, was photographed smiling with the police. In an earlier event, he had been involved in a situation against former President Theodore Roosevelt. The image is part of the historical records of the time. On May 4, 1928, Josip Broz Tito, a Yugoslav leader, was photographed by the police after taking part in a protest in Zagreb. He and other demonstrators tried to help a baker who had been detained. This event is part of the history of social movements in the region. In 1972, the band Kiss had not yet adopted the makeup that would become its trademark. This period shows the beginning of the group's career before they adopted the look that made them famous worldwide. Their music and style began to gain attention at that time. In 1933, a turbine was photographed during the construction of the Hoover Dam in the United States. The turbines were a fundamental part of the system that generated hydroelectric power at the plant associated with the dam. In 1938, Sigmund Freud and his daughter Anna were photographed as they left Vienna, Austria, for London. This period marked an important change in their lives due to political conditions in Europe. In 1950, Italian models were photographed during a rest break, possibly at a fashion-related location in Italy. The image shows an informal moment in their routine, highlighting the style and elegance typical of Italian fashion at the time. In 1926, during a heat wave in Berlin, Germany, a businessman and his secretary worked inside a swimming pool to cool off. This moment shows how people looked for creative ways to deal with the intense heat in the city. In 1952, farmers in Michigan were photographed during a protest against the action of the sheriff, who was attempting to evict a woman from her farm on behalf of an insurance company. In 1987, an exhibition called Computers on Parade was held in East Germany. The event showcased advances and innovations in computing technology available at the time. On December 2, 1989, Mikhail Gorbachev and George H.W. Bush were aboard the Soviet cruise ship Maxim Gorky in Marsaxlokk, Malta. This meeting took place shortly before the declaration of the end of the Cold War. In 1936, members of the German youth were present On July 9, 1969, Buzz Aldrin arrived in 1932. In January 1928, the Los Angeles airship landed. In the 1940s, in 1945, airline reservations were made manually. On the opening day of Dairy Queen in 1957, at the In the 1950s, fruit harvest workers took a break in an orchard. In 1965, two amphicars crossed the English Channel. In 1948, in-flight meals, including chefs. If you enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, please use the Super Thanks tool below. Your contribution helps us keep bringing you amazing historical content. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next video.